I created a video called how to take your 1K, your 5K, that's 5,000, 500, $1,000, $5,000 or $10,000 offer, like when you're selling it, something that you're offering to people to make their lives better, grow their business, grow their personal brand, whatever it might be, take your expertise, turn it into profits. And then I shared how to create actually why you should be taking it and turning it into a $50,000 offer. And the why you should do that, even if, this is the most important part, even if you're like, Ed, no one would buy that from me. I don't have anything that's 50,000. I don't have anything that is $100,000. What I'd like to challenge you with today that's going to be transformative on how your brain thinks is that simply by doing the exercise, you're going to open up filters in your brain that sees people in your environment, businesses in your environment that will start spending more money with you, that will only increase your profits, okay? Think about that. There's nothing bad that comes out of doing this exercise, because what you will realize is that there's probably an easier way to do things than selling less expensive stuff to more people that requires possibly a lot more work that is sucking up your time, when you could possibly be serving a 1% of the 1% of the market and charge them a heck of a lot more money and solve a much bigger problem or pain for them, simply by thinking this way, okay? And I know this is crazy, but I'm going to tell you a quick story. So back when I'm going to tell you a quick story, and I'm going to come full circle and showing you how to actually sell this, and why this is another big why it's actually easier to sell a $50 or $60 or $65,000 package or a $100,000 package than it is like really trying to force somebody to buy a $5,000 package, okay? The buyers are better, they have more money, they're easier to work with, assuming you can solve their problem. And I'm actually going to show you a method of expert arbitrage here in a second, where you don't have to be the solution, but you could be the bridge to the solution and bring somebody in that's smarter, more sophisticated, has the experience, has the knowledge, and actually can solve the problem for them, but you get paid a lot of money by doing that. So again, any limitation you're bringing to the live stream, go ahead and just leave it behind for giggle's sake. And I'll tell you why this is super duper important for building the life that you want to live. Now, right now we're on every single, we're on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, we're on multiple Facebooks, we're on X, we're on TikTok. So this is my first time live streaming on TikTok. So thanks to all the TikTok people there. Do me a favor, click the follow thing or do whatever so you get the next live stream. I'm going to do more of these the more you're on here. I got Lloyd Irvin over here. What's up, Lloyd Irvin, my main man? Jeremy Lane says he loved my book, Time Collapsing. Well, I love you, Jeremy Lane. Thank you for doing that. That's why we're doing this. So today, here's the deal on this, right? When I first started out, I first started selling a $47 ebook to volleyball coaches teaching mental toughness. And I'll be honest with you, like I got my nursing degree, I got my bachelor's in nursing. Everyone around me was so proud of me because I was going to have a great career and I was going to have all the safety and I was never going to have to worry about a job because I was a male nurse, right? And I came home, told my parents, like, look, I'm not going into that. I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to be a motivational speaker. Well, I struggled for about 3 years trying to get people to hire me as a speaker, just going out there and like making $500 there, $1,500 here. It sounds like a lot of money for hourly wage, but the thing is that you may only get one gig every couple of weeks. And it was a hustle, man. Like I was really hustling. I was lost. I was confused. I was trying to figure out a path. I didn't have a model. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have like an actual like step-by-step game plan at the time. But I did have a dream and I did have a belief. And I always believed the fact that if God put this in my heart to do this, I was going to find a way to do it. And I wasn't going to quit, even though I was bartending for cash and I was doing all those things, right? But what I wanted to share with you is that the first breakthrough that happened was that somebody said to me, take the stuff you're talking about on stage and package it into an information product. And so what's an information product? Well, my book, Time Collapsing, is an information product. This video that I'm shooting right now, if I bundle it up and then had it transcribed and sold it online or on Amazon for $19 or $7 or gave it away free. That's an information product, right? Your intellectual property, your information. If I have one thing that I know that somebody else doesn't know that can make a massive difference in their life, well, that's an information product. I can make a difference, and I can charge the value that someone in the market is willing to pay for it. That's a massive lesson right there. I can charge the value that I'm creating in the market space to the person. And so when we think about, in full circle, coming back in a minute, about how do we charge $50,000 or $100,000 and how do we sell that? Well, it'll come down to who's the person in the market that we're solving a $500,000 problem, a $5 million problem for that person, okay? So it'll come full circle. You don't need to know all the answers right now, so stick with me on this because it's gonna, it changed my life when I first learned this. So anyhow, I took the stuff I did, put in a $47 ebook, started selling to coaches online. Now, this was powerful for me because I was like, hey, you mean I can actually make sales online when I'm not working? And I was like, this is life-changing. I've hit the holy grail. The problem came in is even though that year I was 24 years old, 25 years old, making the most amount of money I'd ever made, making the most amount of sales I ever made, I read on a blog, this is when blogs were popular, where the guy said, hey, if you want to make $1 million, so to speak, or whatever your dollar amount is, just do the math, right? Say, hey, I got to make 3 sales a day. And if I'm going to make 3 sales a day at $47 per sale, that's only $150. You know, I'm rounding up, obviously. And he said, but if you want to make $1 million a day, so how many sales are you going to have to make and how big is your market? Well, I looked at the volleyball market, all these coaches, and there was only like so many thousand of them, and most of them didn't have any money. Those are bad criteria of a market. And in his little blog, he had me do this math of like, I want to make $1 million. I'm going to sell 47. I needed to make, oh my gosh, I needed to make probably 20,000 sales. There wasn't even 20,000 coaches in the whole market, let alone only probably less than 1% of them actually cared about mental toughness for athletes, right? And so I already put myself at a massive disadvantage because I was choosing a battle. I was choosing to go fishing in a market where they didn't care about the bait that I was selling. And even the ones that did care about the bait didn't have the money to actually spend on the dollar amount that I wanted to charge in order to make the goals that I wanted to hit, right? And one of the biggest mistakes that experts make, entrepreneurs make, is they go into markets with ideas like, this is a great idea, it's going to help a lot of people, but they don't think through how big is the market and what is the price elasticity, meaning how much can I charge this market in order to hit the goals that I need to make. Which leads me to number 2 is the number one reason most businesses go out of business is that they don't have enough margin, which creates profit. I don't have enough profit. I don't have enough cash flow to keep me alive, working, and happy. Now, the coolest thing about information products, whether it's your consulting, your coaching, your expert advice, is your intellectual property is actually invisible. Like I could put it in a course, but the cost of goods sold, the cost to deliver it, doesn't really cost anything. So I could charge 10 times the amount that it cost me, 100 times the amount. And the fact of the matter is, it's still only going to cost the same amount. Okay. So that's what's super powerful. So at that time, when I went through that exercise, I realized that I would never be able to even afford buying a car, buying a home, and doing the things that I really was passionate about by serving the market that I was currently in. And so even though that's what I knew, what I was passionate about was being an entrepreneur and learning marketing and learning the ability to create offers. I just fell in love with it, right? And I had a mentor tell me that, look, your income is directly related to your ability to create offers that sell. And I was like, I don't even know what that means, but I'm in. And so every morning I would go and I would wake up and I'd go to my Dunkin' Donuts at the time. I'm a Starbucks guy now. But at the time, and I would take old school sales copy. This is like of the best salespeople in the world. And I would literally handwrite it out word by word every morning. I would spend 1 hour. That was my thing. I would set the timer and I would spend 1 hour and I would get better at that skill. That was my 10,000 reps. That was my grind. I was on that. I bought into the system that if I can learn this one thing, then I could do anything. And so that's when this kind of all simultaneously hit the same time of, okay, I'm in the wrong market, but I love marketing and I love the ability of creating offers and I'm pretty good at it. Like I'm getting better every day. I'm still naive. I'm still young. I'm still not perfect at it. But that's when I went into a professional market. I went into the dental market as a marketing guy and I sold a $9.97 product, a $14.97 product, and a $19.97 product. In the last video, it's on my YouTube channel where I talk about how to turn your $1,000 into a $50,000 offer. I tell the full story. I'm not going to go into the full story right now, but that was the first time in my life where I was able to actually see, oh, wow, I make one sale a day and we're making a lot of money. We're making $30,000 a month. Well, really quickly, we got up to $100,000 a month. And that wasn't the big leap though. The big leap was when I discovered that I could sell to that market a $15,000, $18,000, $25,000 offer up front and also charge ongoing licensing fees to the end dentist. Now you may say, Ed, well, that's why are you charging so much? Well, because we found out that if we ran a certain ad for a certain market, dental implants specifically, I'll just tell you who it was, is that they could make so much money. So $25,000, while, yeah, that's an investment, it's not a lot of money where compared to if they had to go buy a franchise for $150,000 and they still had to do their own work. What I was renting out was my intellectual property, which was the ads, right? Which was an ad, and the system that they could then utilize inside their business, which is an asset, okay? So let me break this down for you a little bit. So instead of selling a course, which I wish I had an example of a course, courses are this big and most people don't ever go through them. Courses are, you can't charge $50,000 for a course because they're commoditized in the market, right? People think books, people charge what for books? $9, $19, $29. For courses, you charge $497, $1,000 bucks, $3,000 bucks, maybe, and everybody has a course now. So people aren't going to spend $50,000 on a course. But people will spend $50,000 on a licensing right or a system that solves a very, very, very specific problem, okay? That's one category of a product or service that could be sold for $50,000. The other thing that people will spend $50,000 to $100,000 for is direct access to somebody who can solve a really, really big problem that if there's a very small improvement can dramatically grow the business. Now, this is going to have to be directed towards a very specific type of person or category of business. Now, so when we think about how do we actually sell this, the first question you got to ask is, okay, if I could solve a certain problem, or if I have a friend like Lloyd Irvin was on this right now, and he and a partner have the ability of going in and installing a webinar system into very specific types of businesses that can grow the business from, say, they have a guy right now doing multiple 8 figures, super bright guy, unbelievable. They have other people that are doing multiple 7 figures, great people, right? But they were at, struggling at $15,000, $30,000 a month. Now they're doing $300,000 a month or $1 million a month, right? So what is that worth to somebody? Well, would they be willing to invest $50,000 to have entry into that kind of point? And the answer is absolutely they would. What's up, Grace Showbro, my goddaughter? What's up? I see you, Grace. I'm also on TikTok right now, Grace. You got to go follow me over there too. But the thing is like, I have a buddy of mine right now, and the reason I'm sharing these little quick stories is because you need to understand that there's different ways to get to this price point. And all he does is he provides advice, and they have access to him every other week for 1 hour, and they're allowed to be on a group coaching call every other week. So they have access 4 times a week. They pay him $5,000 a month, and they know they're part of a group. He doesn't do any manual work. He's not doing anything done for you. He's an advisor. Now, he's had to earn that route, right? But that's a very, very, very easy to acquire relationship. So he's getting $5,000 a month. That's $60,000 a year. And the quality and the caliber of the people he's attracting are easily going to be people that bring him the best deals. Okay. Now, I was on another call yesterday with a guy who all he does is connect people for a living. That's all he does. He does podcasts like what I'm doing right now. He brings people on. He finds out what their number one, number two, or number three problems are. That if they're a level 10 problem, level 100 problem, and he could be the one who brings the puzzle piece, well, guess what happens? He becomes the connector. He gets paid a fee up front, and then he gets a percentage of the ongoing commission or ongoing relationship, the growth of the revenue of that relationship. So think about that. He's not really doing work in the manual sense. He's doing stuff. He's uniquely, God gave him gifts. He sees things that other people don't. People like him in a way that allows him to build a really big Rolodex, and he's able to capitalize on that. So that's another way of doing it. Now, I have another friend of mine, very bright guy. He runs a franchise, right? They sell $15,000, $25,000 up front, and then they get paid 3% of gross revenue forever with that client. So what is that client worth to him in the long run? And the list goes on and on and on and on. So the fact of the matter is what I want you to do, and I go more in depth on the last video. It's on my YouTube channel, Ed O'Keefe Show. You can check it out. Where what I say is you should take whatever you would be selling in your course and or whatever you're doing, whether it's manual labor inside an agency, step back and ask yourself this question. What is the part of this that is easiest for me to do? I really feel I'm uniquely gifted at it. And if I was able to do it with someone that has the money to pay for it, if all I did was that one thing that I enjoy doing the most, okay, for me, it's speaking, right? I grew up in a big family. I didn't talk a lot. And then I got older, and now I can't stop talking. So now I have 7 kids, and, but no, speaking. So what do I do for a living? That is my $50,000 offer. Well, my $50,000 offer, I have a couple of them, but one of them is I go on stages, whether it's virtual or in person, for experts out there, possibly people like you, who have high ticket offers, $25,000, $50,000, $65,000, okay? And they either pay me for consulting on how to grow that, or I go on their stage, virtual or in person, and I pre-sell the audience on why they need to buy your offer. And then I'll run the case study and testimonial panel for you, because third-party edification actually is one of the most powerful, simplest ways to sell any high-ticket offer at all. So when we go to how do you sell it, you got to get third-party edification, which means other people bragging about you is probably the number one way to get people to spend $50,000 to $100,000 without having any fee resistance. Okay. So that's what I'm really good at. I'm gifted at it. It's very easy for me to do. So what I want to challenge you with, I share all that because I want you to ask yourself, what am I just naturally really, really good at? Like, what do I find myself moving towards? Now, you may have to learn some skills the same way I had to learn how to do offers, but everything is learnable if you're passionate about it. And if you uniquely find yourself moving towards it, that's another like green light saying, keep moving in that direction. So this should be encouraging for you, because there's part of you guys that are sitting there going like, I don't really know if I can sell something like that. I don't know if who would buy that from me, and I don't know if I'm good enough to do that. And you haven't even created a $5,000 offer yet, so let alone a $50,000 offer. So these are just examples. Now, the other reason why you want to create the $50,000 offer first or early on is because it allows you to work backwards to your lower ticket things. So if you have like a book or a a $500 challenge or a $5,000 sprint or a $10,000 sprint, it allows you to go like, okay, where am I leading people? Well, I want to lead the best buyers all the way up here. Okay. So does that help? Is this valuable? If you like this, just give me a like or give me a comment saying, hey, yeah, this is great stuff. Keep going. Okay. So now I want to cover some of the questions like Jeremy Lane says, but you can charge $25,000 for an acquisition system. I'm assuming he's saying an acquisition of clients, patients, customers. Yes. And acquisition. If I'm like, I know guys, I've spoke on stages where they're, Jeremy says, yes, 100%, where like guys are teaching guys how to acquire businesses. So you could charge say $5,000 for the intensive, $50,000 for the coaching club, and then you can get 10% of the upside when you help put deals together because you could be a bridge of a network. And that's an easy $100,000 package, right? Like you can make hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, I can think of like 3 guys right now who really aren't that talented. They're really not that skilled. They're really not that smart. But they decided to focus in an environment where they're helping people find and acquire businesses, and they're helping businesses sell their businesses to people who want to acquire them. So they're dealing with bigger money, and they're the middle guy. And so they're making money on every side of it. And it takes a little time possibly, but you can do it. Okay. So let's go through all the different ways to sell these things. Okay. Number one, I already brought it up, right? Your referrals, right? And so the first thing is I always recommend, like, look, if you're good at something, or you're starting something, and you should make a list of 20 people, 30 people, 50 people in your ecosystem, and just let them know, like, look, hey, I want to let you know you're a good friend of mine. If anybody in your environment is looking for, and this is where you just go bullet point, bullet point, bullet point. I just want to let you know that we're helping people with blank. Okay. Now, an example out of my thing would be, hey, hey, Lloyd, or hey, Jeremy. Say if I send Jeremy an email today, like, hey, Jeremy, if you know anybody who runs live events, virtual or in person, and they sell a $5, $10, $25, $50,000 package, and they would like to have a wingman help them sell more of it and make sure that their outlines are perfect and that they're actually building an environment that's not salesy and pushy, but has people begging to be in. I'm launching a new service called our Offer Wingman Stampede service, where I come in there and I'm their pitch man. Would love for you to pass this along. That is called the Sideways referral system. Now, the reason why that's so powerful is because you're pitching 2 people. You're pitching the person you're sending to, but it's not confrontational, because some of the people in your ecosystem are possibly perfect leads for you right now. But the other thing is that if nobody knows what you're doing, then how in the world could they help refer people to you? And how in the world can they hire you? And so if you said, hey, Ed, I'm just going to do 20 of these a day, or I'm going to build a list of my 1,000 VIPs, okay, or people I'd like to, and you have your dream clients, you have your low-hanging fruit clients, you have friends, and you'd start safe and you can go risky on that whole thing. That'll work really fast. And frankly, like, as even like you hear a lot of people say, Chet Holmes talked about this in a great interview with Tony Robbins before he passed away. You know, you create your dream 300 and you just keep in front of those dream 300 every week forever. They're going to end up hiring you. It may not be in the first month, may not be in the second month, but you stick with it. And guess what, folks? You're going to get people hiring you. So again, if you're following me right now, I'd love to get a follow. Also, one thing, if you're not ready to do Wingman, we have a oneofferawaychallenge.com. We have a one offer away challenge, 5 days with me, 1 hour a day, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 hour a day, working on how to get your offer dialed in so that you can have an offer that sells, whether it's 500, 5,000, 10,000, all the way up to 50,000. Would love for you to be there. I'm sure there's a link in the comments. So make sure you check that out. It's a great way to have access to me for a handful of days in a very intensive environment to get you caught up to speed in a way that took me years traveling, finding a lot of mentors. But would love to have you there. The next best way is you need to position yourself as an authority. Well, authorities are the ones who can actually ask and get higher dollar amounts. Okay. So if someone's going to pay you a lot of money, they're not just going to show up and be like, hey, Bob told me about you, I'm going to hire you. Some might. But what they'll probably do first is go on YouTube and they're going to look up your videos and they're going to look up, like, where does this guy have a social footprint at all, or gal have a social footprint at all? And then if you look at the way that we build trust in our society today, Google did a whole research study on it. It's called the 7-11-4, which is people need to consume 7 hours of your content before they make big purchases. 11 is 11 touches, see you in different environments. And I think my video is going to click. We're back. I just want to make sure my audio is working here. Is my audio working, guys? Give me a quick heads up, yes or no on that. Give me a quick heads up on my audio. Got to make sure my audio, yep, my audio is working. We're good to go. We're good to go. Just switched over on my camera, so I'm going to talk to you now. So we're all good. So now, what the thing is that they said 7-11-4 is seven hours of content, 11 touch points, and 4 different platforms, which is why you got to be doing this. Like StreamYard is one of the lowest hanging fruit, no brainer things to pick up. I'll throw a link in there. For you guys to check it out. But I love it because I can go across all the platforms. We take this video, we stick it up in, I use video.ai. It's now called Quosi.io or something. It's an AI bot. And then we syndicate it on every single place. Now, YouTube is the most powerful place to have organic content that's going to stay up there forever, that generates clients. The reason being is because people go to YouTube to solve problems. It's a very easy to consume marketplace. Think of Facebook, think of Instagram, think of TikTok more as a news feed and a newspaper. We're trying to move people and funnel people up to, say, YouTube and or Instagram, where they can communicate with you on those platforms. Okay. Now, so you need to have that kind of baseline. Now, one of the things that we teach in our system is the interview method, where you get interviewed. Whether it's really you go on interviews or like one of our services is an interview. And as Jeremy said, yeah, the thing about YouTube, it's the #2 search engine. So, you take, what are the questions your best clients have, and you start answering them. Okay, that's first and foremost, you do that. Don't stress out about algorithms yet. Don't stress out about getting the number of views. There's a lot of guys getting 500 views on videos, and they're making multiple millions a year in consulting and coaching and whatever, because the right people are actually watching their content and consuming their content. Why? Because they're solving problems. Okay. And who said it recently is very smart. They said, when you think of algorithm, just think of audience. So instead of trying to do stuff that solves, like, that helps the algorithm, just do stuff that helps your audience and work from the best buyers down and solve the best buyers problems, because you're not at best buyers. Like, say you sell low ticket with your high ticket, they're going to want to learn more because they're aspiring. Does that make sense? So your content needs to start from the top up, and it pulls everybody up. And when you do that, you're going to attract better buyers. Better buyers fund all the other stuff that you want to do, if that makes sense. Okay. So we first started, just to recap, we start first about the Sideways referral system. And for people I see joining right now, you can go back and watch this or tag it and like it, because this is the most powerful stuff I've taught probably publicly in a really long time, from encouragement of actually one of my clients, because we were on a client call and I was telling him, like, look, dude, you're spending way too much time. You're spending way too much time, effort, and energy servicing the lower end of, I know it's paying your bills, but guess what? There's dragging and sucking the life out of you, because you're trading time for labor. Does that make sense? They were doing agency work that was sucking their life. And I was like, let's just take the thing that you do best, say no to everything else, and then raise your prices and go from 15K, 7,500 up to 50K. And then we'll work on your 100K together. And once we made that shift, it was like immediate, boom. Got rid of the lower task people that cause the biggest problems, remove themselves. The better people came up. Now, good friend of mine is Perry Marshall. Perry Marshall wrote the book, 80-20 Rule of Marketing and Advertising, okay? Now, the thing is that Perry brought up is he took the concept called the Pareto Principle from Richard Koch wrote a great book called the 80-20 Rule. I actually recommend both of them because they have a different spin on it. Perry went super, super deep into business, how businesses can apply the 80-20 rule, okay? Now, what happens is that by you applying the 80-20 rule, you find out 20% of your customers bring 80% of your profits. Now, you may think, oh, Ed, I've already heard that. But the guys that I know who are charging $50,000 to $100,000, they take it to the next level. They say to themselves, hey, okay, so who's the 80% of my top 20%, or no, who's the 20% of my top 20%? So there's always an audience of your buyers, amongst your best buyers, that are already paying you 5-10 times more than everybody else. Now, it might be part of their lifetime value. Like, you know, like it might not be $50K up front, and then maybe that scares you a little bit. It may happen over 2 years. That's okay. You're still a good person. They're still good people. But the point is that they're removing 50 grand, 100 grand from their bank account, and they're giving it to you. And if you can get 10 of those a year, 20 of those a year, 30 of those a year, and you combine it with, as what we talked about before, is the thing that you're uniquely gifted at, very quickly you're going to wake up in about 6 months to 12 months to 2 years. And you're going to be like, Ed, this was the best thing I ever did, because now I'm actually able to write the book while breathing and enjoying. I'm actually able to run the challenge without stressing over my ROI on my ads. I'm able to actually run the intensive, like whether I charge 5K or 10K, and not have to make sure there's 10 people in it, because I got to be able to make the dollar amount to pay the hotel or the Airbnb and get all the food. You can actually relax. You're like, well, I'm in a good spot because my best clients are paying for everything else. And that is the Elon Musk method, by the way. He started with the most expensive car in Tesla, and he's worked his way down to go to mainstream. Why do you do that? Well, because the cash flow from that goes to the next one, right? So far, I've covered two main ways, right? Number one is you got to just embrace the fact that you got to assert yourself to be the authority, because no one else is going to do it for you, which means you're going to go buy StreamYard today. You're going to grab your phone and you're going to start live streaming, and you're going to pick 10 questions, go to ChatGPT, say, this is my best client ever, and what are the top 10 questions they would ask me? And then you write those out, or you'll spit them out, and you do a video just like this. This, my friends, came from ChatGPT. I could spend 18 hours doing what ChatGPT asked me to do. That's how long it took, right? So the next one is that you need to get live with people, whether it's virtual or in person. Now, one of the things we did, I'll tell you this story first, and then, because I might be running out of time here in a second, one of the things we did that was gangbusters in the dental profession is that if they bought my $1,000 course or $500 course, I always gave them a $97, I named it free, a free Fast Start Day. I asked them to pay $97 to hold their spot, where they were allowed to come and we did a Fast Start training, which the Fast Start training was all about getting them cash in their bank account really, really quickly. Now, one of the best things you could ever do is that when you get people moving in your system of any kind, whether you do it free or paid, I love moving people from free to paid as quickly as possible, because paid people value their time more, they value your time more, without question. But my point is that if you can get them taking action on your advice at all, you're immediately going to get somebody that's emotionally bought in, financially bought in, and now they're going to be asking you organically and naturally, what's next? How do we work more together? And that leads me to live events, okay? So you could do a challenge. I'm a big fan of challenges. You could charge $97, $55, 3 days, 1 day, 5 days. I don't care. They all work. There's different benefits to them. Obviously, someone who spends more time with you is going to be somebody that is going to be more invested in you. But you got to start where you got to start, okay? And number two is, actually, I have to back up on one thing. But then number two is, if you can get them live in person to shake your hand, give you a hug, meet you face to face, you are going to, I would say almost 100 times more likely to move somebody up to your $15,000, $25,000, $50,000 offer. There's without question in my mind, that is the number one way to move people up. Now, some people like watching this, like gurus like Cole Gordon, who I respect. All those guys be like, well, I don't think you need to do that. You just get them on a coaching call and you sell them. I get that. What I found is that most people, most experts are experts because they don't like getting on phone calls with people. It's a very small percentage of the market. The other thing that I think is a blockage for most people is that they don't want to build out full sales teams, and or they're not in the financial position to build out full sales teams, and or they don't want to suck up their time with full sales teams. And so the way you build that is through leverage. So as Dan Locke says, 1-to-1 is too slow. So we go to 1-to-many. So 1-to-many, right down, top to bottom. I could do webinars. I could do 1-to-many on YouTube. I could do 1-to-many on Instagram. I could do 1-to-many on Facebook. I can do 1-to-many on all those things simultaneously, all at the same time. So why would you do one-on-ones if you do 1-to-many? Well, maybe you do both of them, right? And then you do the challenges, right? It's another 1-to-many. My main man, Glenn Dawson, is here. Probably the best time collapser in the bunch. He might be doing. He's here. What's up, Glenn? But you do 1-to-many. And so if you build a business now, 1-to-many, and you have the same access. I was telling my daughter this the other day because she's almost 21, and I said, Grace, you literally have the same advantages as Cindy Crawford or other experts because you have the capability of building an audience on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, and you can go to a private label manufacturer and you could start selling stuff on your own without anyone's permission. On YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, on X, on all of them. Who cares where they come from, right? And very, very quickly, guys, very, very quickly, you're going to be dominating your space. And if I told her, I said, if I was 21, I wouldn't do anything but that. I wouldn't even go to class. I wouldn't even pay attention to my instructors. I'm kidding. My wife's in the other room. She's going to yell at me for saying that. But I'm kind of half joking. Is that like on my spare time, I'd be figuring out how to make money using 1-to-many marketing strategies. Okay. Now, for selling really big ticket, because I hear what you're saying. Well, you're talking about selling $50,000 or $100,000 things, but wouldn't somebody 1-to-many, like, wouldn't that be kind of like too distant? Well, let me tell you something. All right. Let me tell you this. In my experience, you have dogs and you have cats. The dogs in life, and these are people, dogs in life run up to you and they want to get pet, right? They want to get pet. They want, oh, you want to tell you how great they are. They want to tell you how great you are, blah, 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 blah. You're great. I'm great. We're all great. Let's lick each other, right? In a lot of ways, I'm a dog. Sometimes, though, I'm a cat. What's a cat, right? Highly kinesthetic, very auditory, right? Very, very auditory. They like to scroll around the room, right? What do cats do? They will come around the room, and then when they're ready, they come up to you, right? Well, what better way for somebody to get to know you than to have a big audience, 100 people, 150 people, 300 people, 10 people, 5 people, 15 people, and you're on that audience. You're on the stage. Whether it's virtual or in person. Right now, the fact that I'm on YouTube separates myself from 99% of people. Why? Because 99% of people aren't on YouTube right now. And if you're over the age of 40 and you're not on YouTube, guess what? It's not overcrowded with people in their 40s and 50s and 60s on YouTube. Okay? It's a complete false belief. There's billions of people on YouTube right now, and we're like an underserved community because the younger generation is picking up on things faster. But if I'm 55 years old, I don't really want to listen to a 28-year-old tell me about how his Ferrari is running and how his second girlfriend just showed up. I mean, I don't want to hear about that, right? High five, dude. You know, I'm not in that phase of life anymore. I don't really want to learn from you or spend time with you. Okay? But if a dude that is around my age or a gal around my age is doing it, I mean, my goodness. I mean, female crowd, by the way, is probably the most underserved market in the space. Like I look at all the people on here, and I can guarantee you that like Glenn Dawson is one of the, he can get you out of back pain, knee pain, joint pain, anything in literally 30 seconds, right? He can look at a video of you doing squats in your thing, and he can do it. I don't even know if he's on YouTube. Glenn, are you on YouTube? Not to call you out on that, but I guarantee he can double his business just by being on TikTok and YouTube the same way I'm teaching this, right? Real live demos of it. Let me show you how dysfunctional the O'Keefe family is. And he shows videos of me and my kids, right? But anyhow, so I got to wrap this up in a second, but I got two more strategies I want to teach you guys. If you're liking this, guys, if you're liking this, do me a favor. This going live thing is kind of new for me, like, right? And guess what? Even me, I need a little confidence. I need a little like, hey, this is valuable. This is something that if I was coming around, just give me the thumbs up, give me a comment, ask a question. If you ask a question, I'll go live tomorrow and I'll answer your question. Okay. Like, but seriously, help me out, help a brother out. Right. So, Jeremy Lane says, I'm seeing people put VSLs directly on YouTube and crushing it. Jeremy, man, you're giving away secret sauce. Jeremy is giving away secret sauce right now, folks. The #1 YouTuber in the world, and I'm not talking about Mr. Beast, right? I'm not talking about Mr. Beast. He is the #1 YouTuber in the world, so he doesn't count. He's the man. He's leading from the front, doing Amazon Prime shows. Iman Gadzhi, man, guy's young dude, good looking guy, well spoken. He's a young guy I'm listening to. I'm telling you this, man, because he cracked some codes, and Jeremy just shared it, everybody. So I'm glad you're here. You put your actual sales video on your YouTube channel, and you drive people to it. But here's the powerful thing. Your best buyers want a problem solved. And so where everybody screws up, and I have more to share. I ran out of time. I got a call here in about 3 minutes. Where everybody screws up is they teach too much of what to do without properly helping your best buyer understand what the real problem is and why they haven't solved it yet. Like, your greatest gift for people, when I look at events, right? When I look at events, the first thing I do is I look at the structure of their event. And almost always I'll say, bro, the problem is that you're going to pitch your high ticket coaching club over on day 2 at 3 p.m. and all your content is so digital, deep content that by the time you actually tell them you have a mastermind, their brain's going to be so tired. They're going to have a list of things to do that are longer than this list. And that's not how you sell people into a better future for themselves. Listen to my language. That's not how you sell people into a better future for themselves. How you sell people into a better future is you help them identify the real problem, and you help them transform their identity of what's possible by working in your system. And the way you do that is then you demonstrate models of where they could be. These are case studies. These are your other clients. These are your examples, okay? And the third-party edification that comes onto you, and you can do this on YouTube too, by the way. This transfers over to virtual stuff. This transfers over to YouTube. Like, other people talking about you is gonna, but you want alive brains. You want people begging to be in the same room as those other people. And that is how you move people organically and naturally to sell for you. Now, there's one thing I forgot, okay? If you have clients, if you have leads, if you have customers, if you have things, in the first part of this video, which if you're just jumping on right now, please go back and watch the beginning, because you'll really understand the 4 steps. This is the 4th step of how to sell $50,000 to $100,000 packages. I have 4 more I got to go through, but it's not going to happen today, guys. Sorry to leave you on a hook. But the other thing is, if you have existing clients and you haven't offered them a $50,000 package, if you have a $5, $10, $15,000 package, simply going back to them and saying, hey, I'm opening up spots for this and you have an elite package, there's people in it that will jump into it, okay? And so that's one of the fastest, smartest, easiest ways, most profitable ways to do that right now. I'll give you one more. The other way to do it is to look at who would benefit, who has clients in their ecosystem right now that would benefit by their clients and leads and people in their ecosystem by being a part of your circle. And then if you let them know about it, so for example, like if I'm helping people with their challenges or helping people with their events, who would benefit that? Well, a performance-based media buying company would benefit for it because they have clients right now that probably suck at selling themselves. Does that make sense? So they have an incentive to have someone like me help the person that they're helping. And so that's another great way to do it. Okay, great way to do it. Now, on the next video, we're going to talk about the fastest way to get a book done, how to get PDFs up live and running to position yourself as the authority. But here's what I want to tell you. This is why getting the $50,000 offer first is the most important part in the beginning. You don't know what book to write until you actually get super clear on where you want to take them. Once you get super clear on where you want to take them, it's super easy to write the book because you're like, I was going to write a 300-page book about all the things I know, about everything I do. Now I just get to write a 30-page book that solves one specific problem that's going to attract my best buyer and all the aspiring best buyers, people that want to be with the best buyer. That's super, super important. So anyhow, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. Appreciate you being with me. Give me a thumbs up, give me a follow, give whatever they ask you to do in these things. And in the description, there's probably a link to my 1 Offer Away challenge. I'd love to have you there. That's literally 5 days, 1 hour a day. I'm going to walk through everything, teach you my whole system. If you'd like to work with me directly on your event, on your challenge, maybe a one-on-one, and you need more hands-on help, and you're in a position to do that, then you could go ahead either to our Instagram and you can just DM us, say Wingman, or you can comment Wingman on any of these socials. And myself or one of my team members will just reach out. We'll just ask a few quick questions. Our AI bot should pick up on it. But the other thing that should pop up here is the last video. Click on it, watch it now. It'll walk you through how to actually structure your $50,000 offer. And also on my channel, you got to check out The Money's Attracted to Speed, why some people are making money a lot faster than you, because when you combine charging more with speed principles, it's life-changing. That's it. You guys are the best. Love you. Have an amazing day. And we're always rooting for you on this end. All right. Have a great one. Bye.